Hello, welcome to another episode of Crack Shot Chronicles. Today, we're going to discuss the possibilities of wild stuff. What kind of wild stuff? People are always asking, is a .22 long rifle adequate for self-defense? And there's a lot of people on both sides of that fence. Some people say it's not adequate because it is not a centerfire cartridge, which means when the hammer strikes, it hits on the rim. And that makes it very unreliable for ignition. A lot of people say, well, I got a .22 and it's never given me a problem. Well, good for you. But in the majority of the times, a .22 will not guarantee ignition as more readily available as a centerfire. So the question comes is, well, if a .22 isn't any good because for self-defense, because it just may or may not shoot when I pull the trigger, then it's got to be better than a pointy stick. Well, I doubt that. In some circumstances, a .22 is better than a pointy stick. Like if you have some distance between you and, say, a zombie or a vampire or werewolf, and you just happen to be equipped with weaponry that can kill a zombie or a vampire or werewolf. But in certain instances, like if they're really close, a pointy stick might be better. And you're wondering, well, pointy stick can't penetrate somebody that well. It probably not reach the vital organs. Well, you're probably right. But let's not talk about how deep it penetrates. Let's talk about how big of a hole it's going to make. So, over here, I am prepared to take out that vampire with a pointy stick and a mallet to see if I can get penetration. Now, that is just a cardboard box, so it's really not going to be a scientific experiment. Well, kind of, sort of. Maybe. But anyway, so we're going to see, can a .22 be better than a pointy stick? Let's see. We're going to start first with, what I got here is my Ruger Security 6 with a 6-inch barrel. It is loaded with .22 long rifle. So let's see what would happen. So there's the vampire. He points up to me. I shoot right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to walk this right down here. And as you can see, everything's about center mass, and there's a hole. Now look at how small those little bullet holes are. So you have to rely on deep penetration to hit the center where all the vital organs are, where the central nervous systems is, where all the arteries are right in here, so that you can make sure you can put them down. Ideally, a headshot would be preferable, but targets on brain shots on moving targets is extremely difficult to make. They just don't pose like this target is for me. They have a tendency to move around. So I just aim here. Okay, now let's see what happens with the pointy stick. So, same vampire coming at me with a pointy stick. Well, I got the pointy stick. He wants to bite me in the neck. So, of course, I can't just point my gun and shoot at the vampire because, well, for one thing, he's going to probably move faster than a speeding bullet anyway. But if he doesn't, you know, it's pretty cool because I fill him up with lead, piss him off real good. But if you're going to use a pointy stick, you have to use a different set of tactics. Like, be sneaky, like a coyote or a fox. Hide your stuff. Don't let him see it. He don't know he's coming. When he gets ready to bite you in the neck, you take the pointy stick and you ram it into his chest, just like that. Look at that. Let's see. If it doesn't go all the way through, you got this. Pound it, pound it, pound it. And what do you got? Ladies and gentlemen, you got a dead vampire. Now let's see the damage this pointy stick does to a vampire. Leaning this forward, there's a stick, pull it out, and you really want to get the heart. So I kind of missed him there, but he's still going to be hurting. So if I really want to get him in the heart, put it right there, and drive it all the way in, just like that, right through the heart. Now, pulling that thing out, let's see the size of that vampire hole. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was a vampire, I'd rather be shot by a little .22 than by the pointy stick. So, is a pointy stick better than a .22? With holes that big and penetration about that deep, I think the pointy stick is superior to the 22 at close range, like within bite you in the neck distance. So now, some people say, well, that's just not really fair, because most vampires are not going to let you just walk up to them and stab them in the heart. Well, you know what else is a pointy stick? A pointy stick is a pointy stick. When it has feathers on it, it becomes an arrow. So let's see how the arrow fares against a vampire, especially if he's not aware you're aiming at him. I'm going to run over there. I'm going to be out of target. I'm going to sit over here and I'm going to shoot at this target so you can see what happens. Let's get this closer to you. So there's a target. Let me go back there and hunt me a vampire. So, with this longbow that I made, right, and I made it out of lumber that I bought at Lowe's. These are actually oak wood boards that I have curved and turned into a longbow. I took this piece in the center, made out of a piece of 4x4, I think it's poplar wood, and I carved it out nice and neat. I made it all by myself. This is actually what I call a takedown bow. I can release these bolts, and turn it into a 3-piece bow. And the string, I just use regular 550 cord. By using all these things, homemade bow and arrow. This bow actually has a 40-pound test line, which technically I would be legal to hunt white-tailed deer in North Carolina with it, because all you need is about 35-pound test line, draw strength, to legally hunt for large game in North Carolina. I would never hunt a deer with this, because if I wound him, the other hunters are going to say, oh, you are an incompetent hunter, you're inhumane, because you shot him with a homemade bow. If I shot him with a $500 store-bought bow that was 40 pounds, they would say, oh, you just got an unlucky shot. That's not fair. But that's why I only use this for target shooting. So let's see the damage that this arrow has done to this cardboard box. Okay, as you can see, it entered right in here. Pull the cardboard box out. Hold on a second. Pull it out. And it went about that deep. Now, granted, this here is just an empty cardboard box. And I don't have my bow set for 40 pounds. I only got like about 20 pounds, 15 pounds for instructional purposes only. But if you had a crossbow, that shoots a pointy stick. As you can see, there's no arrowhead on it. It's a pointy stick. If you had a longbow or recurve bow, there's no reason why you couldn't shoot a pointy stick. And it would have a lot more force behind it, which will penetrate a vampire really decently. If you don't believe me, Indians, primitive Indians from all over the world used pointy sticks on bow and arrows for centuries and killed much bigger game, much more dangerous game than vampires. And if they were successful, so could I. So, pointy stick against a vampire, 22 long rifle. Let me see what I got here. Pointy stick, 22 long rifle. So, my question to you, looking at those holes, if you were the vampire, would you want those holes? Would you rather have the 22 holes or the pointy stick hole? So there's your choices. What would you rather get stabbed by if you were the vampire? The pointy stick or the 22 long rifle bullet? Me, I'd rather not get stabbed by any of them. But your mileage may vary. You might decide, oh, I don't know, I'm going to go ahead and take the pointy stick because it's not a real weapon. Lots of people have died, lots of animals have died by pointy sticks. So don't underestimate the power of a pointy stick.